Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 243. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
Doing pretty good. I mean, it's fucking gorgeous outside.
I know. What a day. We're recording this on Sunday. Holy crap, it was great out today. I mean, it was just... I was just walking around the city. It felt so fresh and new, and there's so many great smells, and oh, it was just amazing. Went to the park, and it was so relaxing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. This week on the show, got 2 reviews lined up. How Heavy This Hammer and the horror anthology XX or Double X. We'll say XX.
Yeah, I wonder how you do pronounce that. How do they say it?
We'll say XX. Because when you're referring to like the chromosome, you don't say double X, do you? I don't think so.
No, I don't think you do. Good point.
So we'll say XX. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. If you like what you hear, or even if you don't, maybe consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. Patreon.com/filmpulse helps us keep the podcast free of charge and free of ads, except for the one I just did for our Patreon.
Can't stop that ad ever.
No, that one's just gonna stay. I mean, maybe if we end up making like tons and tons of money from our Patreons, hand over fist, then I won't bother anymore. But until then, we'll keep plugging it. Let's start the show with a review. I'm thinking we could start with How Heavy This Hammer.
All right.
So this is written and directed by Kazik Radwanski. I have a synopsis here. Erwin, a family man who spends most of his time playing computer games, makes a drastic shift in his life when he suddenly decides to leave his wife, yet finds himself in the same rut as before. Kevin, I think we'll start with you.
Starting it with me.
Yeah, I think we're going to start with you.
Okay, fair enough.
What did you think of How Heavy This Hammer?
I quite enjoyed it. I found it to be, it's slightly familiar because it's one of those, like the guy in Arrested Development type stage where he's not really pulling his weight.
A little bit.
Considering his age. But at the same time, I thought it was handled much better. Because usually it's played for like comic effect and stuff. And it's just to put people in silly situations and to laugh at, he hasn't grown up. But this felt a lot more realistic because there were certain times in this movie where I saw myself in Erwin.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, yeah, I do that. My eyes glaze over when I'm playing a video game or watching TV, where I kind of get focused on drinking a beer instead of doing any other adult responsibility that I should be doing. So I thought in that way, with the realism that he has going on here, I thought it worked out quite well. And just the cinematography too, like I wrote in my review, the way it kind of goes, it can kind of, the way it's shot is kind of tied into the way we see Erwin. And then it also kind of plays into the way Erwin sees how everyone else is treating him. Because it's all done in like the super close up. Everything's super close up.
Yeah, everything is pulled in very, very tight. I mean, nothing is in frame. Like everything is extending out of the frame. So the whole movie is pulled in really, really close. I actually liked that quite a bit.
Yeah.
I thought that like you said, I thought that it really added to the narrative of this and just the character of Erwin and the rut, as it says in the synopsis, that he's living in, where he's just kind of going through the motions, playing his video games, doing the bare minimum, like fatherly, husbandly duties, just barely skirting by with that, and then doing his little, rugby games here and there. And just, I also quite enjoyed this. I thought that it was, it's kind of a subdued movie, and like you said, it does sort of deal with the whole Arrested Development concept, where this guy just he has no ambition to do anything. He just goes through the motions. But unlike a lot of those movies, there's no big moral at the end of the story. There's almost no resolution to it either. It's just he finds himself going from one rut right into the next, and he
Yeah.
realizes like, oh shit, the grass is always greener type of situation where
Yeah, but
he
I do love the way he handled the ending because it gives you that little bit of like, oh, okay. He's finally made a realization and then not so much.
hmm it was funny. It was almost as if it was stuck in some sort of time loop
Yeah, yeah,
where
exactly. It was like essentially just the starting of the movie all over again.
yeah, because because it ended the same way it began, and it was interesting because towards the end there, when you think like he realizes after he makes dinner for his family and all of this stuff and is spending time with them that there's going to be a change in him, and then his son shows him what I thought was a different game. Just the way he was describing it, and in the end, you see he's just playing the same exact game, and it was just like the same thing all over again. But
Which is interesting because it I don't know about you, but it didn't look like he was having fun playing that game.
no, and that's the thing. Like, it didn't even look like he was enjoying the game. He was just sitting there, stone faced, and it didn't even look like he was having fun with it at all. He was
Yeah,
just doing it just to exist, just as a means of,
that became his sustenance.
pretty much. And it was like if he wasn't doing that, he was sleeping. He was just
Well, yeah, because he was playing the game too often. He's just falling asleep everywhere because he's
yep.
up till like 4 o'clock in the morning playing this Viking. What is do you know this game? What
No,
is this
I
game?
don't know. I don't know. I've never seen a game like that before. It looked like a real game, but
It's some sort of like Viking game.
yeah, I don't know if it was a real game or not. But it didn't look very good, honestly. I don't know why you'd want to play that.
There's so many better games out there, Irwin.
Yeah, yeah. Not sure why he got hooked on that one specifically, but
Yeah, there's so many other games that you can get truly invested in. This just didn't really look like there's much to do.
no, nope, it didn't. But overall, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I thought Irwin was a pretty terrible main character, like, and I mean that in a good way. Like he just wasn't a very likable person to begin with.
No. But he was that night he was because it's so realistic because he's not like out and out terrible.
No,
He's not just like an absolutely awful terrible person, but just watching him interact with his family and the things that he's not doing that he's not pulling his weight. It's just like, God, you're an asshole.
but at the same time, the film kind of makes you reflect on your own life in that falling into ruts and falling into routine is very easy to do,
Oh yeah.
and it's also easy to see that you could be neglecting the ones around you. Like I have to keep myself in check because if I didn't force myself to be a productive member of society, I would just sit inside all the time and play video games. And
Oh my God. You know how
you know,
close I am. You know how close I am to just reverting to playing nothing but Wind Waker and drinking beer
yeah,
day
like
in, day out and just like that or like Dark Cloud 2 and just forgetting all
right.
of my adult responsibilities. I'm so close to doing that.
And the same could be said about really any kind of hobby or entertainment. Reading, arts and crafts,
Kind of
fish,
do it with films
fishing.
already.
Yeah, exactly. Watching movies. It's very easy to kind of escape into your little cocoon,
Yeah.
and I think it's really important to try to break yourself out of that. And I think that this, watching Irwin, and it's funny because he actually tries to do that. I don't think that he does it in a very effective way by leaving his wife, but uh,
Which just kind of comes out of nowhere too.
right, yeah, I liked that transition too because you weren't even sure what was going on at that point, or at least
Yeah.
I wasn't because I didn't
I
know
didn't
the
see here.
synopsis going into
But
it.
hell, the first like 10 minutes of this movie, I was like, is this one of those like documentary fiction things?
Right, yeah. I mean,
Docu-fiction thing?
right,
But
I mean,
the only reason I knew it wasn't was because Gerard Campbell shows up as the school teacher, and I was like, well, I know she's an actress, unless
yeah,
they
it
inserted her just to mess with you.
yeah, it was interesting. I mean, Irwin is played by Irwin van Cot Cotem. I believe he's a Dutch actor. So yeah, I also got this kind of docu fiction vibe from it. Like it felt very very real. I don't know how scripted the film is. I mean, I'm sure that there was a script, but a lot of the conversations felt very natural. People talked over each other a lot, and it definitely had that realism to it that I always like in movies.
Yeah, it is quite good. Especially the cinematography, the way that the cinematography is kind of employed to essentially add to the narrative instead of just being like, oh, one perfect shot. It
Right.
actually plays a hand in the narrative, because it's it, like I said in my review, where it feels like the suffocating nature of it is he always thinks that he's being attacked and everyone's just getting on him and just essentially suffocating him with all these responsibilities and duties. And then on the other hand, we see it as him just being super selfish. Like he's just a selfish guy. Like he just wants to drink his old speckled hen, his video game, and he doesn't give a fuck about anyone else.
Yeah, definitely. Which is interesting though, because it's not like he doesn't show love for his wife and his kids. Maybe less so for his wife, but there are several scenes where he's interacting with his children, and it seems very clear that he cares for them. But
Oh yeah,
he
yeah,
just
yeah. That's what I mean. Though he's not like an out and out terrible person. You see those small moments with his kids where you're like, okay, he's a decent guy. And there probably was a time where he was, you know that he has it in him. But like you said, where it's that end where it's kind of like the time loop where you're almost thinking to yourself, is this the first time that we've gone through this, or is this like the fourth or
right.
third time where he's kind of gone through this where he's not doing what he needs to be doing?
Yep. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting film overall. Definitely not for everyone. It's not a lot goes on in this movie, so I can understand why some people may not find it to be that enthralling. But for me, it worked. But these kinds of movies always work for me.
Yeah. Plus, it helps that it's 75 minutes.
Right, exactly. The brisk runtime, I mean, it gets in, it does its job, and it's not padded out with unnecessary things like
Yeah, it doesn't just linger and linger and linger.
yeah, a lot of movies like this tend to like re-accentuate the theme and what's going on with these characters to kind of reiterate, what's
Yeah,
happening in their lives and why their personalities are like this and why they're taking a turn. But in this, it does it in a much more straightforward, kind of organic way where we know exactly what's going on with this guy. We figure it out, and then that's all there is to it. They don't need to reiterate it because it's mapped out very clearly.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely recommend this one. Do you know what the release situation is with this one?
I do not. All I know is it's playing. It's got like a limited run in New York. I think up until like the 25th of this month.
All right. So if you're in the city, definitely check it out. It's How Heavy This Hammer. Let's give it a score. Kevin, what are you going to give How Heavy This Hammer?
I give it like a. I initially gave it a 7, but this is. I've also noticed that I'm kind of in a rut giving everything sevens. Noticed that recently,
Yeah,
and
7 is my go-to number, unfortunately. I noticed that I do that too.
I'm just like I'm just always like, yeah, 7 sounds good. But it's creeping up a little bit to a 7.5, sitting with me.
All right. I'm going to give it a 7. And again, that's How Heavy This Hammer. I would keep an eye out on that. I'm sure it's going to end up on Vimeo or one of those services, Fandor maybe, or Mubi
Yeah.
in the near future. So keep an eye out for that. Let's move on and talk about XX.
Oh,
I have a synopsis here. Four short horror films that are directed and written by women. I was thinking we could just kind of go through each one and talk about it a little bit. I'll start it off. I was really excited for this one. I saw the trailer. I knew about it from a while back. I like to watch these horror anthologies. We had a couple really good ones last year. Southbound was really good. So I was really excited for it. In execution, however, and I thought the idea of for using an entire female-led crew was really cool too, as far as writers and directors. But so I turn it on, I watch it, and the first one I believe is called The Box. I was like, okay, well that one didn't do it for me. Kind of a slow start, and then like the next one happens, and I was like, okay, well I'm not into that one either. And then the next one, I'm like, okay, well that one's a little bit okay, and then but in the end, I gotta say I did not enjoy myself at all with this movie. I was so disappointed in every one of the four segments, and overall, it's
It's
probably near the bottom of
it's
the
so
horror
bad.
anthology barrel
It's
for me.
it's terrible. It's just straight up terrible. Because usually when you go with the issue with like these anthology films, right, is usually have the one film that's the clear standout. It's just just in terms of what it's trying to do and the execution and everything, it's just leaps and bounds above everything else that's in the anthology. But you don't have that with this.
No.
There's nothing that sticks out. I think the only maybe the last one, the Her Only Living Son, which to me execution wise is but like the actual idea of it was like, oh, that's a solid idea. That's something that you could build around. But what they did with it's almost as if they didn't have enough time to fully flesh that one out, or at least didn't utilize the time wisely.
Yeah. Overall, I didn't think any of them were scary, even in the slightest bit. I thought the scariest one was Don't Fall, but that one,
It was just
it still didn't do it for me. It still felt the problem with a lot of the stories in this, and we can go through each one, but they all just felt so bland and mediocre to me. Like
well,
it felt
especially Don't Fall. I mean, that was like that was kind of like paint by numbers, wasn't it? It's just
absolutely, absolutely.
it's just I mean, the
There,
box, the first one, I don't get that. I don't understand the point. Like the acting's terrible. Everything about it's terrible because it's just like they stop eating and you can force feed people. Like there's feeding tubes and
right. Well,
stuff. Like, it's just,
that was just one of the several illogical moments in this movie. So the first one is the box. Basically, it starts with a mom and her two kids on a subway. They see a strange man riding on the subway. He has this big red present. The kid, the son, asks to see what's in it. He shows the kid, and then after that, the kid no longer eats. He refuses to eat. And then the kid whispers something to his sister. Then she stops eating. Then both kids tell whatever that's, or no, the son, I guess, tells that secret to his dad.
he stops
Then he
eating.
stops eating, and then they die. Spoiler alert.
Which is
Sorry.
number one, you're terrible parents. You waited like 4 days of him not eating to take him to the doctor. Like, what the fuck? He's a kid. Kids don't stop eating. Like day one, take him to the hospital, take him to a doctor, something. I mean, come on. But it's just there was just nothing to it. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever to me. It's just how like at the end she's like, I need to find out what was in that box.
Yeah.
She's like, are you serious? That's it. That's it. That was the short film that you decided to make.
Right. And the idea of the feeding tube is what really got to me. Like, why would you not put them on a feeding tube? Why would you not be doing extensive tests on them? Because at one point, it just seems like they admitted him to the hospital and let him die. And it's just like, what is happening here? This makes no sense whatsoever. And then there's
Well,
this like kind of interlude, this like dream sequence that happens. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're gonna go that way with it or something. But they don't do
which
anything interesting with it.
which was kind of interesting because it makes sense to say like a mother would do
Exactly,
that.
yeah. Like that's what she was kind of yearning for. She was ready to do anything. She's ready to give herself,
Yeah, but at the
to her family. But
you have the kid comes in and sees the doctor, and the doctor says, "Hey, call me every day. I want to know what's going on." If they never called back, that doctor's calling child services, and those
right,
kids are getting taken away because those kids are like skeletons come Christmas time. If they're going to school looking like that, guess what? You get your kids taken away.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
just
it was ridiculous.
it's just such a stupid like it wasn't scary. It didn't make you think. It was like it was nothing.
Yeah.
such a like a piffle of a film. It was just completely pointless.
So the next one I believe was The Birthday Cake. That was directed by Annie Clark, aka Saint Vincent, the singer.
Which yeah, which this is more of like a dark comedy.
Yeah, I mean
Which
this
which
wasn't the only thing I liked about it, and I think you'll agree with me, was Joe Swanberg's hair. His hair was out
his
of
hair was
control.
ridiculous. Yeah, which this one too is, at the end of it, you think to yourself,
Why did
what
she do
was
that?
what was the point of this? Why is this a film?
The so
Like,
the premise for this one, it stars Melanie Linsky. She's preparing for her daughter's birthday, and she discovers that her husband has died. And instead of calling the police, she didn't want to ruin her daughter's birthday, so she decides to hide the body. But the way in which she does it is the dumbest, most idiotic thing you can think of. And of course, it backfires horrendously. And yeah, it's sort of a comedy, but I didn't really find it funny at all,
no.
and it didn't really fit. Like I don't consider anything that happened in that to be horror. Like I wouldn't put that in the genre at all. And it had kind of a music video vibe to it, especially towards the end, the slow motion.
Yeah, when everyone arrives.
And
Yeah,
that looked okay,
yeah,
but
because it was just mostly like Swanberg shows up with weird hair, and then Lindsay Bird shows up and talks a lot,
mhm.
and then that's it. Like we're done.
Yeah, that was it. In and out. Like there's just nothing to that one, so I wasn't impressed by that one. Then following that was the Don't Fall segment, which is about four friends who are out hiking and they find some ancient like cave rock paintings, and then one of them gets uh, possessed, turns into this
Yes.
creature thing,
Yeah,
and
sure.
kills them.
Yep.
Again, I will say that that was the only one that I found to be even the slightest bit creepy. I thought the kind of creature design on that was cool, but again, just nothing there. I mean,
Yeah.
just so base level.
I mean, honestly, all these are just a waste of
No,
time,
there's
and then
just
they're just all clumped together to make a massive waste of time.
yeah, there was no substance to Don't Fall whatsoever. I think the best part of that one I thought was the title, how the title came in. I like that,
Well,
but.
that was weird too, how they had like two title
Right,
cards.
yeah, that was weird too. I thought that was strange because when it started zooming in and you don't know that it was the title at first, and it was just like that red. I was like, oh, they're doing something cool with the visuals on this one, and then it says "Don't Fall," and I'm like, okay, well, they already introduced it. We already know it's called that. I'm not sure how that, but anyway.
Just in case you forgot.
And then the fourth one was Her Only Living Son, which is that one was directed by Karen Kusama. I thought that was probably the best if I had to
It was
rate
the
them.
best. It was the best idea out of all of them because it's kind of like an extension of like a Rosemary's
Right,
Baby
it's
type
kind of
situation
yeah.
where you
It's
have the mom raising the son of Satan.
right. It's Rosemary's Baby with kind of an interesting little twist. Wasn't a big fan of how it ended. I thought that the build up was okay with it, but yeah, it wasn't. The ending felt a bit lackluster to me.
Yeah, and again, I think that's one of those things where it's either there wasn't enough time to fully flesh that one out, or they just didn't utilize that time wisely.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I think it's a solid idea. That's a solid idea.
Honestly, I think the best parts of it were the transition moments, the stop motion stuff that was at the beginning and
Yeah,
end in between. Like
that was
that stuff I genuinely liked. I thought that they did some really cool stuff with
that was,
that.
and it was creepy.
And it was very creepy, like the rotting apple with the bugs, and then at the end with the girl. Like I thought all that stuff was really cool. So
But
I
it's
wish
just it,
I wish
it
that one
didn't.
of well
Well,
no
that's the thing. It didn't fit with the short films that they show because none of the short films were like creepy or cryptic or gothic or anything like that. They're all just kind of like lighthearted, like air quote comedy or air quote horror.
yeah. In summation, really disappointed with this one. I because the trailer made it look like it was going to be really crazy and scary and stuff, and I just man, it's just a bit of a wet noodle.
Oh my god, it is awful. It's just straight up awful.
Yeah, I mean, if they did another one of these, I'd still check it out just because hopefully, they learn from their mistakes with this one and decide to make some. It just felt so lazy. A lot of it, like, and I'm sure a lot of hard work went into these shorts, but they felt like sometimes when I see these anthologies, I feel like the people involved are like they take an hour to write it. They put forth the smallest amount of effort.
Yeah, like it was some sort of like challenge. Like
Yeah,
make a movie in a day.
and that's what a lot of these felt like. They just didn't seem like much effort was put into crafting these shorts. And it's funny because we're covering the Fan Independent Winter Film Festival, and it's all short films. It's nothing but short films, and we highlight one every Friday. And I've been watching tons of these shorts, and it's like, a lot of these short films are 3 minutes, 5 minutes long, and it's like they have so much to say in that amount of time. It's like, why are you guys not trying anything interesting or new?
Yeah.
Because there's so many short films out there that accomplish so much more in not nearly as much time that was dedicated to each of these shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, XX, can't recommend it. I'll go ahead and give it, oh God, two, maybe a two, 1.1.5, 2.
I'm right there with you. I think I'm leaning more towards the 1.5.
I just,
There's nothing like if you're telling me to point out a positive, I don't know if I really have anything to say
no, it was not very enjoyable at all.
besides the stop motion.
Yeah.
I got that. That gets the 1 star.
Yeah, I could watch a whole short film of that. I mean, just put that as a short film. Put that out. I want to see more of that.
I want to see that dollhouse just creeping around.
I like the sound it made as it walked with its little crabby leg things.
Yeah, it was creepy.
Yeah, that by far best part of the film. All right, so that's XX. That's available now on video on demand. Let's go ahead and talk about some of what we're watching on the watch list. I guess I'll start it off
Start it.
if you don't mind.
Do it.
I saw John Wick Chapter 2.
Watch out.
So this one we talked about it on the show before it came out, and both of us were excited about it, but I was a little apprehensive. I was like, okay, I don't know if they're gonna be able to catch lightning in a bottle twice with this. I think the first John Wick was a surprise to everyone in just how exciting and fun it was, and surprisingly well made. I just didn't think that they were going to be able to do it again with the sequel. Surprisingly, they did. It was pretty incredible. I have a review for this up on the site. It does exactly what a sequel should do in that it builds upon the first one and doubles down on everything. So it takes those kind of interesting concepts, like the world building in the first John Wick was really one of the most interesting, kind of surprising parts. Like the hotel and the coins and all of these strange people and the strange dichotomy that all of these criminals had with each other. There's this kind of like underground world, and
Yeah.
they definitely expanded upon that quite a bit in Chapter 2. Most of it was good, some of it not so good. It definitely stumbles. This is a long movie, and I felt like some of it probably could have been cut out or maybe carried over into Chapter 3, particularly like the Lawrence Fishburne stuff. He plays this kind of guy who controls the homeless panhandler population, and it's like this kind of network of panhandlers. It's kind of, I mean, it's slightly not as ridiculous as the way I made it just sound, but probably could have done without that stuff. It felt a little flat, but everything else was pretty awesome. The action, obviously, that's the big thing that you're going into with this, was top notch. I mean, they took all the action of the first one and just doubled it up. I mean, it was like everything was so intense. Like the opening sequence, the opening scene of the film is about a 10 to 15 minute long action scene right from the onset.
Nice.
And basically he
Yeah.
fights people with his car. Like there's dudes coming after him and he's in a car and he's doing like donuts, running people over in his car and hitting them with his car, and it's incredible.
You would think that you would just it's a car, so you would not go after the car. You would just kind of back off
You'd
and
think
wait for
so.
him to exit the car.
You'd think so.
I
They're
mean
like they
that.
have guns. They're like shooting at him and stuff too. But John Wick 2 it's awesome. So I highly recommend checking it out. It's in theaters now. So if you haven't seen it yet, please go see it. And there's no he gets a new dog, and I don't think this is a much of a giveaway. It does not get killed in this one. So
Oh, thank goodness!
yeah.
Thank goodness. Last thing I need. I finally finished American Honey. I'm not going to talk about it because the movie sucks. So moving right on
Ugh.
to man, that movie was. Ugh.
I completely disagree, but we'll
Ugh.
agree to disagree on that one.
Lord have mercy. It took me 3.5 months to finish that. I will talk about Ma. This is from
Ma.
Ma. Sia Rolson Hall, who she was in A Morning Light. She was a movement consultant for The Fits. And this is her directorial debut. And it's kind of like this really, really loose retelling of Mother Mary's Pilgrimage, which really loose. At least I think. I don't know. I don't know anything about Mother Mary or her pilgrimage.
I
But
think it was like 100% historically accurate.
it wasn't
From what I read.
the red cowboy boots and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, the Cadillac, probably. This is an interesting, very, very interesting movie. It is because she's kind of like an interpretive dancer type thing. Think like Lily Baldwin. If you think of like Collective Unconscious, that segment. So it's a lot of. I didn't realize she was gonna inject so much of that into the story. So it's largely silent. There's no talking whatsoever. Maybe some noises here and there, some utterances. But man, does she capture some great visuals? Just like out in the desert, nothing going on. Like great use of negative space. There's a sequence where she's in a motel room, and all these guys break in, and the walls drop down, and the motel room is in the middle of the desert. It's just a lot of great stuff like that, and the way that she incorporates her interpretive dance into the narrative is something else. You have to see it really. It's something completely different. I don't know if not 100% of it works. I'll admit that not 100% of it works, but enough of it works, and enough of it's just completely compelling and intriguing to keep you hooked. And essentially, that's what makes the experience of watching it so great, is that you're waiting to see how she uses that to kind of further the narrative, of which there's like barely a thread.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's something different.
And that's Ma. Is that available? How's that available? VOD, right?
Yeah, I watched it. I got it on Amazon.
Okay. I saw the Lego Batman movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, this was another one that I was pretty excited about, but not completely amped up, dying to go see it or anything like that. I love Batman. Batman's my favorite superhero character, as I've mentioned before on the show. And I love the Lego movie quite a bit, so I was pretty excited to see it, and it didn't let me down. It was solid, really funny. The first act was hilarious. I mean, I was just laughing nonstop through the beginning parts. The action is a little intense. It is a little bit too much for me. Maybe that's my old age starting to peek through, but there's so much chaos going on in this movie at any given time. It's almost overwhelming. You're just like, whoa. Let's just hold up a second. I can't even tell what's going on here. So it was really, really chaotic, but it was very fun too. It was interesting how in the film they kind of they took the Batman character and the whole like the mythos of Batman, and they basically like deconstructed it, and they kind of focused on what makes Batman a loner and his like self-imposed isolation, and they made that like the plot of this movie, where it's like him reluctantly getting help from people like Robin and Alfred, and realizing that he needs people in his life, that he's lonely. And I just thought that that was a really interesting plot for a Batman movie. And I had a really, really great time with it. Animation obviously was incredible. It was the exact same as the Lego movie. So it was like a mixture of the stop motion and CG. This one actually looked better than the Lego movie, but it's a lot of fun. So definitely recommend it. I mean, I saw it in 4DX. It's my first time going to a 4DX screening.
What does that mean?
So 4DX is basically like the chairs move, like they move with the
So
action
it's
on the
oh,
screen.
so it's kind of like a D-box experience.
No, not really. Like D-Box just kind of rumbles, right? And with this, it actually moves. Like
Oh shit!
you're on a platform, and it like tilts. Like you get tilted all over the place. It does stuff to your. There's like things in the back of the seat that'll like poke you in the back. There's fog that'll come up. There's like lightning effects. There's water that sprays at you. There's like air that kind of they have these like air hoses that are positioned on the headrest behind you, so it'll like like shoot you with air at certain times. It's a gimmick, and I doubt that I'll be paying to go see any other movies in it. I wasn't that into it. I didn't think that it, you know, supposedly things like that are designed to be more immersive, than make the film more immersive. But for
It
me,
would
it
do the,
wasn't.
it sounds like it would do the exact opposite.
Yeah, for me, it was a distraction, especially like the fog. So like at random times there'd be fog that would show up, and it was actual fog in the theater. But the fog machines were right in front of the screen, so it actually obstructed my view of the movie. And there's like wind effects that happen, right? So like sometimes if it's the like a scene where they're flying in the Batwing, and like they open it, the cockpit, and there's like wind, and there's actual wind in the theater. But the problem is the fans are so fucking loud that it actually drowned out the dialogue, and I couldn't hear what they were saying. And I was like, this is not an enjoyable experience at all.
It sounds absolutely terrible.
Yeah, so I wasn't a big fan of it. I mean, for kids, I think that they would probably have fun with it.
Yeah, because if they miss a couple lines of dialogue, I
Right.
don't think they really care.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to that. But for me, I was listening for those little one-liners and throwaway jokes and things like that. Like that's those are the jokes that are designed for me, the adult, going to see it.
Yeah.
And it detracted from that. So 4DX, I'd skip that. But Lego Batman movie, tons of fun. Would go see
boy.
that.
I watched a documentary called "For Thousands of Miles" by Mike Ames. This is from back in like 2013, is what it's showing on like Letterboxd and IMDb. This is actually something that we kind of released on Film Pulse. It's kind of billed as one of those like blurring the documentary with fiction type deal, but it seems more so of just like a straight up documentary with like a fiction blade over top of it. So what it is this guy Larry McCurtis riding his bike across country. He just decides to do it, do the old ride the bike across country. So it's just following him, just tagging along, getting great footage. The cinematography is fantastic. It's incredible the way, they kind of like they do pans, or they'll just kind of like just long takes of him climbing a hill or whatever. And the way they score it, fantastic. But what he does, the kind of like the fiction part that's laid over top of it, is it seems like, I'm not 100% sure how this went down, but it seems like him being along with this guy riding across country, getting this footage, kind of led him to like write like an account of the journey. So it's him doing like a voiceover, not entirely throughout, but a good portion of it throughout, of like his experiences, what he's seeing, how he's feeling, that type of thing. And it's really, it's solid writing. The only thing that I had like an issue with me is the way like his voiceover, the way that he does it, he really kinds to go for this like really solemn tone to it,
Mm-hmm.
which it works. You know, it makes it feel serious and really impactful. But at the same time, like hearing that over and over again, plus with the score and the nature shots and everything, it does kind of like lull you into sleep, which I don't think is the intent.
Yeah.
But you know, it's taking something as simple as a guy riding cross country documentary, the way that they kind of the way that he you know went about creating this film, I think works really well. Instead of it just being like a straightforward, just you know talking head
Mm-hmm.
type deal where it's just boring as can be,
Right.
using some creativity with it.
Okay. And that's 4,000s of Miles. You can check that out on our site. So just do a quick search for it on Film Pulse. I saw Beware the Slender Man. It's a
Ooh.
documentary about the old Slender Man and the incident wherein two girls stabbed their friend 19 times in honor of the Slender Man. So basically, the documentary it follows the trial or the arrest and trial of the two girls that stabbed the other girl. The trial was, or I don't think it wasn't a trial. It was like a hearing, like a court hearing to determine whether or not they're going to be tried as adults. So it follows them. It talks to their families. It kind of tries to explore what made them do this and what their fascination was with Slender Man, and then of course it gets into the mythology of Slender Man, where he came from, who created him, and like his rise to fame on the internet as a meme. And it was pretty interesting. This is one of these documentaries, and I don't come across these too often, where I felt like it's too soon to release this. You need to
Mm,
spend some more time on this because uh, it would have been more interesting to just see it through to the end of the trial. Because at the end of the movie, it was announced that they will be tried as adults, and then that's
mm.
pretty much when the movie ends. Now I'm not going to keep after this story. I'm not going to be looking up headlines to see
Yeah.
how this trial is going. So I felt like
That
it
seems kind of because you would. There's a part of you that wonders if they kind of like utilize that and are trying to capitalize on that. Like, I'm gonna make another documentary that goes
yeah,
through the trial.
it's it's possible they might do something like that, but yeah. So that was the big takeaway from it for me. I wanted them to maybe spend some more time. Maybe they couldn't. I'm sure there was time constraints. Trials, things like this take years, and I understand that, but it would have been nice to see it through a little bit further. The exploration into the Slender Man, it's pretty interesting. It's not like they expose anything I didn't already know about the phenomenon of Slender Man, but either way, it's pretty interesting nonetheless, and it's just an unfortunate story. I felt bad for everyone involved. Of course, I felt bad for the victim. They don't talk to her either at all in the documentary. They don't interview her. They don't, and I understand that she probably didn't want to be part of it because she was
Yeah,
most
get
likely
stabbed 19
traumatized.
times.
Yeah, she was most
Yeah,
likely traumatized by the whole event. So I can't fault the filmmakers for not getting an interview with her, although it would have been certainly more fascinating to hear things from her side. Either way, this is on HBO. It's called Beware the Slender Man, so it's a pretty interesting crime documentary.
I saw Frank and Lola, directed by Matthew Ross. This is the one with Michael Shannon and Imogen Poots. This is a psychosexual noir,
Whoa, oh,
which I'd like to point out, Michael Shannon doing psychosexual noir. It doesn't work.
yeah,
It doesn't work. I don't see Michael Shannon as a sexual being. It just that's the exact opposite of what I think of when it comes to Michael Shannon. And Michael Shannon plays it like Michael Shannon, which I think we have to kind of like come to terms that his range has been it's been diluted. I think with everyone kind of casting him in the same thing. I think he needs to branch out, do some more comedy, get back to the what was that show? The God damn it, that Adult Swim show. It was like the reality TV show with the guy had the red to cover up his face.
Oh,
What was that?
Delocated?
Yeah, Delocated. We got to get Michael Shannon. We got to get Delocated Michael Shannon back.
Yeah.
We need him because he plays it like every other movie where he's just grim. There's only one tone to his voice, and he's trying to be this like sexual guy, and it's weird. It just doesn't work. But also, it's just an odd one because essentially he gets tricked over and over again to the point where he just believes anything that people tell him. Like his girlfriend at the time is like, "Oh, this happened to me." He's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna take care of it." And then he meets up with that guy, and that guy's like, "No, that's not what happened. This is what happened." He's like, "God damn it, son of a bitch, I'll get her." And he goes back to her, and she's like, "No, that's not what happened. This is what happened." He's like, "God damn it, fell for it again. I'm gonna get that fucker." And you're just like, "Holy shit, dude, just move on. Like you are gullible." It's they go like overboard with the noir aspects where like everything is tinted, like every single scene is like super tinted yellow or super tinted red, tinted blue, and everything's just tinted, and it's nauseating.
And I bet the colors of the filters represent the tone of the scene.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, but the tone of every scene was indifference. No one seemed to be interested in making this movie. So I get, except like I guess the color filter guy, he had a fucking blast. I can imagine.
All right, and that's Frank and Lola. This one just didn't interest me. I was not. I had no desire to see this one.
Yeah, it is. Ugh.
Um, the only other thing I wanted to mention was a TV show, and that's Legion on FX.
Oh, watch out.
This was there's only 2 episodes out so far, so I can't say for sure if this is going to be one that I'm going to stick with or not. But I got to say the first episode, the pilot episode, was really interesting. I mean, this is based on X-Men. It's based on the X-Men comics, and it's so interesting. Like, there's just nothing. I never expected a TV show like that. I don't know if it's going to take off because it's just so weird and cerebral that I just can't imagine it taking off. But when you I hope you watch the pilot because it feels like it's if Wes Anderson made an X-Men movie mixed with maybe some like Terry Gilliam or something. It's so bizarre, but it is so overtly Wes, and the second episode's not like this. I mean, it's sort of like this, but the first episode is so overtly Wes Anderson. It is mind blowing, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was just an observation. Either way, I think it's a really interesting show, and I hope that it goes someplace worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Anything else for you?
Nope, that's it. Done.
Done. All right. Predictions. Since we were off last week, we did not predict any of the things that came out this week. However, I'll rattle off some scores here from Rotten Tomatoes. The Great Wall, that got a 35%. I didn't see this movie, and I probably won't, but they sent me an art book for this movie, like a big coffee table art book. I'll have a review up. By the time you hear this, it'll be up. The art book is incredible, but yeah, I mean, like, we get these art books from Titan Books sometimes, and they're such high quality coffee table books. Like this one for the Great Wall, it's got like some of the pages are kind of translucent, and they have these designs on them. Some of them are just clear, like they just like clear plastic pages. Some of them are fold out, so they like kind of fold out into these big panoramas. The binding is made to look like an old text of some sort. So it's got this like kind of string binding to it, and then the edges of the pages are all gold. I mean, it's just such a high quality book. It's it's pretty incredible the fact that they put so much like time and
Yeah,
effort into
exactly.
an art book based on the Great Wall, which
Yeah.
35%.
Oh God.
Cure for Wellness got a 38.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, yeah. And Fist Fight got a 32.
That's not surprising. I did. What is
I'm
surprising is I see XX right below that at 70%.
70%. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I,
This I don't understand. I do not understand that at
I
all.
don't get that at all. That's a terrible movie.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, there were some of those horror anthologies that we've covered in the past that I liked and you hated, like Tales of Halloween. I liked that and you hated it. And there's probably some other ones. I think you hated the second VHS and I liked it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't, man. That's why I'm just trying to think of like that stacked up against like the second VHS.
I think
Just,
the second VHS was far superior.
I think so. And man, did I hate that. That's not good, XX. But
No,
XX doesn't care.
no, XX doesn't care.
Just give two shits.
And next week we have Get Out, the Jordan Peele horror
That's
film.
exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for this one. I think this is going to be fantastic. I think that critics are going to love it. I'm going to say 86 on that one.
I'm gonna go with an 88.
Yeah. As far as wide releases next week, I think maybe that Collide movie is getting a wide release. But I'm not even sure. So we'll do Collide. What are you thinking on that one?
Is this
It's an
the
action movie.
with what's his name? What's that guy's name? Don't say it.
He's
Don't say
from
it.
Skin. He's from Skins.
Nicholas the Holt.
Holt. Yeah. Yeah.
Nicholas Holt. Which again, that's another guy where they're just trying to make him a thing
I like
and
him.
just stop. Just stop. Like he's not going to be a thing. Nicholas Holt is not going to be a thing. There's just nothing to the guy. Like no offense to the guy, but there's not. He doesn't have enough of anything to make him like a leading man.
Not enough personality.
Yeah, just not. There's nothing there. I'm sorry.
All right.
So
Well, what are you thinking about Collide?
I'm gonna say 34.
34. All right. I'll say 32 on that one. Couple other ones that are coming out that we're not gonna bother predicting here. We got Rock Dog.
Is that a dog made out of rocks?
I wish. No, it looks like a very, very poorly done animated film.
Mm,
The Girl with All the Gifts.
that one looks interesting.
Yeah. We might cover that one next week on the show. Tulip Fever. My Life as a Zucchini. That's one that I definitely want to see. Bitter Harvest. As You Are. What else we got here? We got a documentary called Dying Laughing about stand-up comedy, I believe. Punching Henry. Kiki. Year by the Sea. Drifter. I'll probably be checking that one out. It's a horror movie. Fabricated City. I'll be checking that one out also. It's a really interesting looking, I believe it's a South Korean action movie. It's like an action sci-fi movie. Pretty stoked for that one. And that's pretty much it.
There's a on Netflix.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I think-
sorry. That comes out. That's in a different section. I'm sorry.
Yes. That's
I'm
on
sorry.
VOD, which we're going to get
I'm
to
sorry.
right now, Kevin. You're jumping
Okay,
ahead.
so I'm jumping the gun.
Next week
Sorry.
on VOD, on Tuesday the 21st, we have Decanted, which is a documentary about wine, I believe.
We need more of those.
I know, we need more wine docs. Come on, guys.
It's an unexplored area of American culture.
I actually got invited to a wine tasting in celebration of that film, but I couldn't go.
Mm,
I'm not a big wine guy anyway, so
gonna miss out on all that yellowtail. Oh, boy.
Yellowtail. I don't think it's gonna be Yellowtail.
Darn it! If they're doing a thing like if you're gonna do cost, that makes the most sense. Do that, save a bunch of money.
It's the wine tasting. It's the wine that's featured in the film because it follows a specific vineyard in the Napa Valley.
Yeah, this is what it's gonna be. Okay, it's gonna be those bottles, but the wine's actually gonna be Yellowtail. I think they're gonna fake that shit.
Well, I won't know. I won't be there, but
exactly because you can't tell. They don't taste the same.
I agree. I completely agree with that. Country Portraits of an American Sound. This is a what I would assume a documentary about country music.
Okay.
Punching Henry.
That's just, what did Henry do?
I don't know. But they want to punch him so bad. That was a title change. That was originally called something else.
And they changed it to Punching Henry.
I know. Yeah.
God damn it. People in film are terrible.
Some
people are just absolutely terrible.
There's some decent people in it. Sarah Silverman, J.K. Simmons, Tig Notaro, Jim Jeffries, Doug Stanhope. It's about a stand-up comedian. Let's see what else we got here. The 2017 Oscar-nominated short films. And then on the 24th, Friday, we have I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. That's the one that's going to be on Netflix. Is that the one you were going to mention?
Yep.
Okay.
That was the one.
Very excited for that. I'm sure that we'll definitely be covering that one next week. That's the Macon Blair. I didn't even know. I was very recent that I found out that was going to be on Netflix. So I'm really excited for that.
Same here. I got super psyched.
Yeah. Kiki, Voodoo, and Drift. Oh no, I'm sorry. Drifter doesn't come out till the 28th. Getting ahead of myself.
You're gonna have to wait. Oh, you Drifter fans.
You could see it in theaters next week.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Blu-ray next week. This is for Tuesday, February 21st. We have Bad Santa 2. Yeah, there's so many. There's so many like anime. It's like 90% anime. I don't understand. Arrow is releasing Psychomania from 1973.
Nice.
It's got a cool cover. I never even heard of that movie, so
I don't know, but it's Psychomania.
Yeah,
Can you imagine? It's a mania of psychosis, I guess? Like, that's just... It seems like it's going to be out of control.
It looks like it could be some sort of biker movie, so I'll be checking that out. Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, Nocturnal Animals.
Okay. No.
I would definitely recommend Manchester by the Sea. I haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge. I'll probably give that a look this week, actually. Just because.
That's Garfield, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have such a keen hatred for British actors, apparently. Young British actors.
Man, come on. Andrew Garfield. Ugh.
You don't like Hiddleston? You don't like
at least Hiddleston has a personality. Garfield doesn't even have a personality.
You don't like Domhnall Gleeson?
Well, he's just terrible. Who else is Benedict Cumberbatch? I'm not a big fan of him.
Really?
He's all right. He's all right. I mean, I like him and Hiddleston were the first ones that I was like, I don't like these guys. But now if you're telling me Domhnall Gleeson and Andrew Garfield, I'm like, damn, those guys are amazing.
It's just like how everybody views George W. Bush now. We look back we look back with fondness of those during those days.
He is such an eloquent president. I mean,
yeah.
The way that he was able to speak as an adult is just
Anyway, what do we have on the Criterion front next week?
We got two Criterions. We have Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown from 1988, that Pedro Almodovar, which I haven't seen that one. I've seen a couple of his films, but that's one of his big ones. We got that coming out on Blu-ray. And you have Mildred Pierce, the original from 1945, which I do want to see that one. It's supposed to have a great performance from Joan Crawford. And I enjoyed the modern Mildred Pierce. So 1945, I mean, some of the stuff that they tackle in Mildred Pierce, I would love to see that done in 1945.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or topic suggestions, email us at podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter at filmpulsenet and at filmpulsekevin. And if you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/filmpulse, and consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.